Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum to keep up to date with the community debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, then simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Paul and Chocolate Sane. Good to have you both.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
Yes.
We do a very calm housekeeping because there's only two of you in. You up for that?
Sure.
Yeah,
Why not?
Any signs of Earth curvature?
No.
Not yet. Not yet.
Any signs of axial rotation?
Any signs that a ball in a vacuum of space can have an axis?
That spins on.
I don't think so.
With
No?
Oh, there no.
No evidence of axial rotation? What about scientific evidence of gravity?
Nah.
I can't do it like he does it. Gravity.
Scientific evidence of what?
Yeah, we need Travis for that. Scientific evidence of what?
Yeah, so any scientific evidence of gravity? No? Anybody? Anybody at all?
Nope.
Not at all.
What about a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth? Any evidence of that?
Nope.
Nah.
What about the distance to the sun?
Just assumptions.
Yeah, we were talking about that before the show started briefly. So that the density or the medium of the atmosphere would throw off any angle measurement, basically. So you can't determine it by the angles of the sun.
Yeah, you were saying in the pre-show you'd had a discussion about exactly that with one of your friends. Shout out to Colin Turner. Your early video on Pseudoscience was exemplary. Oh, thank you very much. Keep up the excellent work. Smash the super chat. Indeed, smash the super chat. Thank you very much, Colin Turner. Really appreciate your support. Thank you very much indeed. Last but not least, any evidence of the R value, Earth radius?
Nope.
R.
No, that concludes the housekeeping. Thank you very much for taking part. Say the link's not working in the chat. Yeah, why do I always ask the same question? Just refresh the page. So if you've joined and you haven't refreshed, I don't put it out until the show actually starts. So just refresh and you should get the link and be able to join.
I did like that video you put out earlier. Pretty good sum up of where we're at. So kudos to that.
Yeah, I intentionally left out some of my sentiments, so I got in touch with Anthony and sent him a first draft, if you like, of the video, and Nick, for that matter, a couple of other people, and I was like, hello UK Truth. On mute.
Hi Nathan.
Hello, good to have you. Yeah, so some of the sentiments I left out. One of my sentiments that was what I was originally going to put in the video, I just put as a comment, which was to say that the reason for my frustration towards the end just before I left was because basically what was happening was the information I was disseminating was being paid lip service only. In other words, yes, we understand. Yes. Now let's talk about this pseudoscience experiment. In other words, saying it and actually understanding it and acting upon it is two different things. Hey, Apollo.
Hey,
Good to have you.
What's up, Apollo? How you been?
excellent.
Ooh, man.
And what about you guys?
Hello, Eric. I'm very well. Thank you very much for asking.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right.
Hey, Eric. Good to have you.
What's up,
Thanks.
Eric?
Hey.
What's your little one fighting, Nathan? Is it just a chest cold or something?
I really have no idea. I did get in touch with the doctor at one stage because she had it for like months, or seemingly months. She'd just have a cold and then get better, and then have another cold and then get better. And I wasn't too concerned about it, but I'd seen my folks over Christmas and they'd said, "Oh, she's still got the same cold." I'm like, "No, it's a totally different cold." But they were very insistent that I take her to the doctor, which I did. And the doctor said the same thing I've just said, which is, yeah, they get cold and then they get better, and then they get another one and then they get better. You know what I mean?
Okay, I understand. I was just making sure. Hopefully, it wasn't pertussis or whooping cough or something like that. But at least it's just a common cold. That's good.
Yeah, she's just got a cold. Because we walk
I'm very-
everywhere and it's cold at the moment, so I don't have a car. My wife has a car and I don't. And while I might occasionally get to borrow it, typically every day I walk everywhere. So when it's winter, that means her and I are getting cold and therefore getting a bit ill, probably because we're, I don't know, not wrapped up well enough or whatever. That could be my fault. Could just be an effect of being out in the cold every day. But it's getting warmer. Spring is almost here.
Yeah, for me, I had we up with all that. I was telling you earlier that we had the massive amount of rain here in Tennessee. We had flooding. We were on the national news. It was pretty crazy. And then right after the rain quit, everything bloomed, and then all my allergies hit me all at once. I went from itchy eyes to completely congested to like miserable within a day or two. And now it rained. It's cold. Now my allergies are gone. I'm like, oh, it's one of those things. It's like, would you please make up your mind? Just stay here. That would be nice,
I love this time of year. This is the real New Year, if you ask me. Spring is New Year, not winter. That's just silly. That's old end of the year, isn't it, winter? Everything's dying. That's not New Year. This is New Year. Daffodils and flowers. Things coming to life. Lambs. Spring. Yay.
Was it from Chronicles of Narnia? It's always winter and never Christmas. And it's like when the winter was gone, spring came. So, and actually, I don't want to get biblical and I don't want to create any tension. It's just more an observation. The Jewish New Year is around this time period, so which is interesting because it's the harvest, beginning of the harvest.
Just does make more sense, like logistically, as far as, I mean, why would it be a New Year in the dead middle of winter? That's just weird. I've always thought that was a little weird, but whatever. I didn't create the calendar.
Got a totally screwed up calendar, totally screwed up holidays, if you ask me. Oh, that reminds me, Apollo. Somebody was asking about tilting a telescope to the horizon. Is that something that's often or ever done?
Sure, I guess if you want to observe something that is nearing the horizon and your telescope is following it, eventually it will hit the horizon. I mean, a telescope is really just a mirror lens. So, sure. Yeah.
What I meant by
For
that was, in the same way as people are using P900s to look at the horizon, right? Obviously, you're using a telescope to look at the stars, but has it ever been used in your experience to look at something in the daytime, just at a long zoom?
Well, telescopes are usually really big telescopes are usually stationary, so you can't just move them down to the shore on to take photos with. They're usually inside a protective dome on a mountain somewhere really high up, really big ones.
Sure, I
But
don't mean physically take it to the beach. What I mean by that is just look at something far in the distance that's not a star that's on the ground. In other words, near the horizon would be a very long distance away from your high position in an observatory dome, right?
Yeah, I did. I think last year I did go to a small observatory, and they had a 12-inch telescope, and I looked at the how do you call it, horizon, so you could see the clock at a inside a church. You could see the time very far away, but you couldn't see the church with your own eyes, I think, too far away, but you could see it with a telescope. I've taken some video of it. Yeah, cool.
It'd just be interesting to know what you could see from, with far better capabilities of seeing long distances on the ground. It'd just be interesting to see what, if you could get a photo of it, how different would it be when you've got that increased aperture?
I can pull it up. It's on YouTube.
Oh wow, really? Oh well, this is a
Yeah,
result.
I think. Don't quote me. Let me
Yeah, take your time.
check.
Well, if you do, that's
I may
a good result.
have put it on private. I think the telescope has I'm not sure, 16, an f16 aperture or f11. I'm not sure. I would have to check the specifications of the Maxutov telescope. I think it has a wait, let me check.
But this isn't massive, is it? You said it was. Did you say 12-inch?
A
8-inch.
12-inch telescope, so not
It's not
too big.
enormous.
Not enormous, but I have the if I share my screen, right? This is the mirror. This is the primary mirror that's getting a new coating. So the old coating was scratched up, so they cleaned it off and applied it again and recut it, or no, not recutting, just applying the a new coating. But I may have put it on private. YouTube Studio.
Do you have a camera mount for your telescopes? You can put either your cell phone or a camera on there with the eyepiece.
It's a f16 telescope, and it does. They sometimes mount a camera, but in this case, I just put my cell phone over the eyepiece that you would normally look through, but they can remove this part, and then you can mount a camera on it. And I've asked if I can mount my Nikon D610 on it if I wanted to. And they said it would be no problem. I would just have to buy the converter. And,
Yeah, right.
and then I could.
About $400, right?
No, not this one. This I think it was like $50 for a
that's not so bad.
converter.
Oh, that's not so bad. But yeah, I've done the same thing. I just put my iPhone up to the lens of my telescope. Hello, Brenda.
Good morning.
Morning. And yeah, you can get good enough pictures as long as you get it in focus.
Yeah, but obviously mounting a Nikon will be much better.
Sure.
I've got the video right here. And it's upside down because you are seeing light reflected from a mirror.
Does your telescope have tracking?
It isn't my telescope. It's from an observatory, and I think Science last year they built a custom tracking device on it. So it can track now, but I think it's visual tracking. So it doesn't track by means of a star chart, but there is a live webcam, a special astronomy webcam mounted on the telescope, and the tracking software locks onto a target, in the video feed and keeps this in the middle. So it's a visual tracker, not a tracker that uses star charts. But it can track, yes.
Oh, because I was going to say most tracking telescopes use a globe model to track with.
Hey, Arwin, can you hear us?
Hello. Yeah, I can hear you. I didn't
Right,
see the
yeah.
notification. by the way.
This is what it looks like. You can see the time right here. And you can even see, I could see with my own eye, you can see the atmospheric interference because the image was billowing, it was moving around, just like those videos that you see of the moon, where you see everything moving around. You could see the same thing with the tower, with the church. So yeah.
Very good. Thank you for presenting that. I do remember you presenting it once before, actually.
Yes, I think I did.
Yeah, thank you for that. Was there any more, or shall I take you off now?
I might. I do also have one video that I took walking around the telescope, but that won't really be interesting, I guess. So no, that's about it. I didn't take any special equipment with me.
Cool. Thank you very much for sharing that. Somebody asked specifically about that, so I'd forgotten that you'd already shown it as exactly what the guy was asking for. But yeah, useful to have seen it again. I can't remember who it was that was asking, to be honest, but somebody certainly asked about exactly that. So thanks for showing us that. Much appreciated.
All right, and I recently got a new lens. I got a Canon 400mm f4.6. And I took some really nice photos of the moon with it. But one thing I want to eventually try out is I also have a 300mm f5.6 lens. But you can also buy for about $500, $600 a 300mm f2.8 lens. So you have the same focal length, but a widely different aperture. So I can just buy that lens for a few photos and then resell it again for about the same value. So you get a view at f5.6 and f2.8 of the same scene. So that's something I may try at one point.
Cool. Very cool.
So what do you plan to do with the telescope?
Well, I want to take photos just of the planets, of the moon, of galaxies, of nebula. How do you pronounce it? Nebulae, those kind of things. Because it can track now, so you should be able to resolve even faint objects, because it keeps it at the same point, so you can do exposures of multiple hours. 3 hours wouldn't be a problem.
And the good thing about a telescope over a regular camera, you can capture more light, so you're going to get a clearer image too.
Well, most telescopes aren't actually very light sensitive unless you get a really big one. But the benefit of a telescope is that you can get a tracking mount for it. So you can expose for several hours looking at the same point. So you get hours worth of light. So you can resolve very faint points in the sky. So that's really beneficial.
I see. So you're a globe earther then?
Yes.
Oh, very good.
Right. What I'm also working on are photos of the moon taken every day. So you take one photo every day and you play these in a sequence, so you get the lunar libration, a sort of wobble of the moon, and you can see this.
Yes.
Yeah, I've already gotten like 5 photos and I've made a simple animation of it. But it's
Yes,
very
because
cool.
because the moon's rotation around the Earth isn't exactly the same as its spin.
Right. So you can see, I think, a little more than half of it, 95%, instead of 50. Do I say that correctly? No, I said wrong. 59% instead of 50, because there's a slight wobble. So, and you see this when you take photos several days and put them together. You see it moving around very slightly. So I want to make something like that. That's cool.
Yes, it is.
This is a very sweet conversation between globers. But any of you guys have proof for this globe that you're talking about?
Well, actually,
do you have
Independent
No.
variable?
do you have proof of the flat Earth?
No proof at all. Nothing.
Do you have
Wait a minute, let me
proof of
ask
the
you a
flat
question.
Earth?
Yeah, every time
Yes,
I go
there's no
outside.
curvature.
That doesn't
Well,
prove the
let
Earth
me
is
ask-
flat.
Yeah, it
Well, let
does.
me ask you guys
No, it
hang on.
doesn't.
Doesn't do it scientifically, but it does. In a
No,
general
it doesn't
sense.
prove
Yes,
anything.
there's
What you see
the
in the
lack
sky
of
doesn't
geometrical
prove a ball.
curve. Yes.
That's
Yeah.
denying the consequent. That's a formal logical
I'm not
fallacy.
claiming scientific proof. I'm just claiming general.
It's still
proof,
fallacious.
as in
It's still denying the
the
consequent, and it's still
impossibility of a
fallacious.
globe due to the lack of geometrical curvature. Yeah.
It's still a formal logical fallacy.
No, it's not. I'm not claiming
Yeah, it is.
scientific proof.
How is that?
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
Because he's saying that he's denying the consequent. He's saying there's a lack of curvature, therefore the Earth is flat.
Yeah,
That's
it's a
denying the consequent.
geometrical
No, that-
deduction.
Yeah, it is.
It's a geometrical deduction. If it's not curved, then it can't be a ball, and it has to be flat. So,
No.
yeah,
That's not
yeah,
logic. That's not a logical entailment.
yeah, it is. It's
No, it isn't.
geometrics. Yes, it is. There's no cumulative drop. Then that means it's linear. The surface is linear, has a linear relation. There's only one thing that I know of that has a linear relation in that sense, and that's a straight line. And when you compare a straight line concept to a surface, that means it's flat.
It could be a cube, and we're just on one of the surfaces.
Of course,
Maybe, but
but
not
I'm pretty
all.
sure that this surface that I know that everybody knows is damn well flat.
So you can't say that the Earth is flat. It could be a cube.
Yeah, I can, but I don't know
No, you
what's out
can't.
So
there.
if you
I
can
know
say it
this.
can
I
be a
know this
cube,
part of the
then
Earth is damn well flat.
Brenda, if you can say it might be a cube, then it might not be a globe, right? Is that what you're saying?
True. It might not
Sure.
be.
Oh, okay.
Can I just ask Brenda
Very good.
something? Do you think that denying the consequent is a logical fallacy?
Of course it is.
Take us through it. Explain it to us.
Oh, you have two propositions, P and Q. Say if P, then Q. If you denying the consequent is you deny Q, right? And so that's denying the consequent.
Well, but give it me in full syllogism then. So if P then Q.
Something like if it rains, the street will be wet. The street is wet,
No,
therefore it has rain.
Just the formulation.
That's
No, just
I
the
just told-
formulation. Just if P, you so far given me if P then Q. So what's the rest?
yeah, not Q, therefore P.
Not Q, therefore not P.
No, that's modus tollens.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
That's logically valid.
Sorry, you're saying
Oh,
modus tollens, otherwise known as denying the consequent, is not a logical
No.
fallacy now.
modus tollens is not denying the consequent.
Well, what you're doing is kind of a straw man, though, because we don't claim to know what's beyond the where we live. So we don't know what's beyond this flat plane that we live in. We don't know how far
So
it
you're just-
extends.
So
We
you're
know
not
that
flat
where
earthers.
we
You're
live, it's
just
flat.
globe Earth deniers. You're just
So I'll just read it out. Modus tollens. In propositional logic, modus tollens, also modus Toledo tollens, Latin for the mode that denies by denying, or denying the consequent, is a valid argument and rule of inference. It is an application of the general truth that if a statement is true, then so is the contrapositive.
right. Denying the consequent isn't a contrapositive.
Sorry, denying the consequent is also known as modus tollens.
False.
I'll just read it again. In propositional logic, modus tollens, also modus toledus tollens, Latin for mode that denies by denying, or denying the consequent, is a valid argument and rule of inference.
So all this time, when you've been claiming that globers have been denying the consequent, this is formologically valid, not valid, then you've been lying all this time.
What the hell are you talking about? That's not modus tollens, that's denying the consequent.
You just said that that modus tollens is denying the consequent.
Yes. As opposed to
that's a
affirming.
formological fallacy.
Why are you talking over me? As opposed to affirming the consequent. Not modus tollens. What are you talking about? You have no fucking clue what any of these fallacies are, have you, Brenda?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I understand it
You
perfectly.
just told us quite explicitly that modus tollens is not denying the consequent. Yeah, it is.
You just said it was. That's what it says.
Yeah, you said it wasn't. I then read out the definition that I had to go and look up because I had to think for a minute. Is she right? No, she's not. She's dumb and doesn't understand what this argument is. Otherwise, she wouldn't have declared that modus tollens is not denying the consequent. You also declared it's a logical fallacy, which it's not.
But you've been declaring that denying the consequent is a logical fallacy.
Affirming the consequent. You misrepresent what I say again, Brenda, and I'll kick you out. I have not once declared that. That is precisely what you declared when you came in here. Affirming the consequent is a logical fallacy, a formal logical fallacy. Unlike modus tollens, which you came in, accused Arwin of using that logical fallacy, denying the consequent.
Je moet toch aan je huis werken ook?
Ja, ook.
So modus tollens is if P then Q, not Q, therefore not P. Right?
Why are you asking
That's
me?
modus tollens.
Why are you asking
That's
me?
different.
This is
That's
not a
different
logical
from what
fallacy.
you've been claiming.
If one thing is
It's not.
observably bloody obvious, the contrary is also obviously not true. If the Earth is obviously and observably flat, which it absolutely is, then it's obviously not a bloody ball.
It doesn't follow.
Oh, really? So if the Earth is obviously and observably flat, which it absolutely and unequivocally does present itself as, then you're saying the contrary is also true, that it's a bloody ball? No.
Where's your proof? Where's your proof that the Earth is observably flat?
It's all around you. We've got photos of it
That's
that
not
flash
true.
up on...
So
excuse me, I was in the middle of telling you. Interrupt me again, you get kicked out. You asked a question, I'm answering you. It comes up on screen. Periodically on this video and every video that we have on these debates, we have images of the Earth being observably flat. For example, but not limited to, Mackalled Lighthouse at 31 miles, which according to you is a slightly looming non-standard refraction hyena holographic projection of a lighthouse that's not being blocked from Earth curve, that we can see but shouldn't be there, and is therefore a holographic projection of something that we can't actually see. In other words, a load of nonsense about your belief excuse me, I hadn't finished. We've got a troll in. Hello,
I don't know anything about your
How you doing? Hold on one second, Brenda. McDonough, can you mute your watch page? Can you hear us, McDonough?
No, he's already
Gone.
Yep.
So, in conclusion, Arwin is not guilty of any logical fallacy here. None.
Sure he is. So if the modus tollens is if P then Q, not...
I've just explained, literally only 2 minutes ago, that this is not a logical fallacy. If something is observably obvious, and you say that the contrary to that is therefore obviously not true, if I have a banana, it's obviously not an orange.
If you don't have a banana, it doesn't follow that you have an orange.
If I don't have a banana, but that's the contrary to what I've just said, though, isn't it? So you're just playing double Dutch word salad with this asshole. So just stop. Stop. This is not a logical fallacy to declare that the contrary of something that is observably obvious is not true, which is what Arwin is doing. It's not a logical fallacy. Modus tollens is not a logical fallacy. If it's observably obvious, last chance. Do it again, Brenda. You leave. When I'm talking, you shut up. It's as simple as that. If you can't help yourself, then I'll kick you out. You don't talk while I talk. Simple. This is not a logical fallacy. The Earth is obviously and observably flat, and an example of it is on screen right now. A lighthouse that we can see and photograph in different conditions on different days. It's there. We see it. The Earth is obviously and observably flat. It is not this outrageous claim that it's a slightly looming non-standard refraction hyena hologram of a lighthouse, which is what you have... Was that you interrupting me again, Brenda?
No, sorry.
Yeah, so you have the extraordinary claim when we just say it's a lighthouse that we see because it's observably bloody flat, Brenda. There's your proof on screen. Lighthouse. We see it because it's there. The Earth's obviously flat. Not obviously a hologram. Not obviously looming. Not obviously a slightly looming non-standard refraction hyena holographic projection of a lighthouse, which is what you would need it to be if you want to assert it's a sphere, Brenda. So the observably bloody obvious is that it's flat, the contrary to that being that it's not bloody round.
Can I talk now? Number one, I'm not familiar with your lighthouse example. I don't always watch your show. So I understand that you went on and on about this lighthouse for a long time. I have no idea who took the pictures or if they're actually showing what they purport to show. But you can't simply look at something and claim that you've reached a rational conclusion. You can't.
Why? Because I see it. I can't say I've got reached a rational conclusion when I just look at something. Look, there's a lighthouse. Yeah? Am I not allowed to look at my pencil case and say pencil case? Because I see it. That's a rational conclusion based on looking at something. There's a lighthouse, I see it. There's a boat, I see it. There's my pencil case, I see it. That's perfectly reasonable. It's totally unreasonable to declare it's a hologram.
I'm not declaring it's a hologram.
I don't care what you're declaring, stupid idiot. Others who are as stupid as you and think they live on a sphere have declared it's a hologram. This is established fact on your side. I don't give a crap what you think. You asked what
So now
we
you
got
are
to prove
putting
it.
words in your mouth.
You asked what we got to prove it. There it is. The fact that you don't know anything
That's not
about
proof
it
of anything.
doesn't bother me.
That doesn't prove anything. It's just a.
Oh, really? Yeah, it proves the Earth's obviously and observably flat. You don't have to like it when you don't know a damn thing about it. Why are you telling me it proves nothing? You don't even know what it is.
Exactly. So it
Oh,
doesn't.
well, so it doesn't prove anything because I am totally ignorant of it. No, it doesn't work like that, you stupid muppet. You being ignorant of something doesn't change how obvious and observably flat the Earth is.
Well, I don't think it's obvious at all.
Well, you don't know what it is. First time you've clapped eyes on it and you haven't got the slightest clue what it means or is, and you're telling me, well, it doesn't prove anything to me. Oh, right. Maybe you better educate yourself quick sharp then, hadn't you? It is obviously and observably flat. To assert anything else is the outrageous and extraordinary claim that would need evidence to back it. Me looking at something doesn't need any evidence. I just look at it.
Yeah, you can't just look at something.
Yeah, you can. You just look at it. The Lighthouse. I see it. There it is. Lighthouse. Simple. Don't need anything else. I don't need any extraordinary evidence to look at something.
Yes, you do. You do need evidence. You make
To
a
look at
claim,
something?
you have to provide evidence.
Oh, right. I'm looking at a chair. It's definitely a chair. I'm looking at it. Do I need to prove to myself that I'm looking at this chair? Of course not. It's just a chair. I see it. There it is, chair. Now I look out my window and I see building. There's the building. Do I need to prove that that's the building? No. It's just a building outside my window. There it is, building. Then I look at great distance, 31 miles, and see a lighthouse. I don't need to prove it's the lighthouse. There it is. I can see it. No explanation required. The only time it needs an explanation is if you've got a fundy religious belief that it's not really there, when you can see it.
You're just declaring the Earth is flat without any evidence.
Other than a lighthouse at 31 miles that we see because it's there, and you fundy zealot globeheads say it's not there. It's a lighthouse that's holographically projected from behind the Earth curve that we don't see. So yeah, we do just see it. It is just there. You fundy zealots need to say it's an apparition. You fundy zealots need to say it's a hologram. You fundy zealots need to say that it's looming. You fundy zealots need to say that this is a mirage. Well, no, it's just a lighthouse. We just see it. It's just there. Like my chair, like the building out the window. I can just say I see it. And the Earth is obviously observably flat because it's not being blocked by anything else. Therefore, the contrary is absolutely not true. There's nothing blocking our view of it. There it is. We see it. End of explanation. I see it. It's there. Earth obviously flat.
Well, just saying the Earth is obviously flat doesn't...
No, it is. I'm looking at it. Here we go again. More evidence on screen. Barrow in Finesse, 17 miles. A boat at about 6 miles in between. Flat plane in between the two of them. No obstruction, but the lighthouse and the clock and the town and the docks are all there to see from 1 inch above the ground. Absolutely no obstruction from any claimed Earth curve. We see it. It's there. Again, you globehead fundy zealot claim that this is a slightly looming non-standard refraction hyena hologram of Barrow in Finesse being projected from beyond a curve that we don't see. Again, not seeing any curve, seeing buildings on the obviously and observably flat plane. Are you going to tell me that you're ignorant of this as well and it proves nothing? There's the clock, I see it, 18 miles away. Obviously and observably flat.
Where's the base of that building?
What base? What building? What's the name of the clock?
Building.
You know exactly what this is, do you? Well, why are you asking me where the bottom of it is if you don't even know what it is? It's not supposed to be there if you have a reification fallacy disorder. If you think you live on a globe, that clock's not even there. Yeah, you're asking me where the bottom of it? What, the bottom of the hologram?
Where's the base of that?
What? The base of the hologram?
That lighthouse.
Excuse me. The base of what? The base of the hologram.
Where's the base of those wind mills?
Excuse me. We were talking about the clock. You asked where the bottom of it is, and I'm saying base of what? A hologram? You're saying we can't see enough of the hologram that's not blocked by Earth curve, and we do see and is there, obviously and observably flat. And you're asking where the bottom is. It seems like you've got a lot of word salad. I present you with proof of stuff that shouldn't be there on your fantasy globe belief. You fundy think it's a mirage, and yet Rather than saying, yeah, that's interesting, it's not there in my fundy belief, but there it is, we see it, you ask me where the bottom of your bloody hologram is. What kind of joke are you?
Well, that
The
base would be
obstruction is
hidden by the
caused by the
curve.
limited
Obstruction.
viewing angle.
What obstruction? There's no obstruction, dumbass. We see it. Are you not listening, Brenda? There is no obstruction. There's nothing obstructing anything. The whole thing, if we were on a globe, wouldn't be seen. None of it's really there in your fantasy world of globes. We don't see any of it. It's all blocked by Earth curve. But there it is, we see it. And what's your response to that? Where's the bottom of it? What, the bottom of the hologram we shouldn't see? If there was an Earth curve actually obscuring our view, and it isn't, we just see it. Yeah, the simple logical explanation for that is we see it because we see it. No explanation required, like me looking out my window. You say it's a hologram that we need to explain where the bottom of it is. What a load of crap.
I never said it's a hologram.
I'm telling you what it is in your reification fantasy. You don't know what it is, but you see fit to question me where the bottom is, but you don't realise your fundy belief would have you believe it's a bloody hologram. So you don't know anything about this, but you're asking me where the bottom of a hologram is. You stupid muppet.
I don't think it's a hologram.
I know you don't. It isn't. We see it because it's there. It's not a hologram. Your fundy belief in a globe says it's a hologram, you stupid muppet. Aren't you listening?
No, it doesn't. That's not.
Obscured by Earth curve, muppet. Not really there. Blocked by the curve of the Earth you think we have. It is visible. We do see it. And it's definitely not a hologram. But if you want an Earth curve to be in the way that's not blocking it, then you can be damn sure it's going to get called looming when the maths doesn't work out.
I can't see the base of that tower, so the base of that tower is obstructed by a curvature.
No, we see it. It's there, you stupid dumbass. Didn't you see the picture?
Well, I saw the picture, and I didn't see the base of the tower.
Base of the tower? What are you talking about? You've never seen it before. How have you even compared it to anything? You don't know how big that tower is. How tall is it, Brenda?
Well, yeah, I have no idea.
So why are you asking where the bottom of something you've got no idea how big it is? I'm telling you, not asking, making it absolutely clear, because you don't know. That you, the globehead fundy zealot, who thinks he lives on a ball, has got a fundy zealot belief that it's blocked by Earth curve. So you need magic and looming and refraction and 7/6R to bring it back because it's not visible, Brenda. Now, you don't have to understand it. I don't give a crap if you want to go and research it, but that's a fact. Now, you can fight it all you like and try and find excuses for it, but you asked, what proof have you got? I'm giving it you, and you're fighting it tooth and nail, aren't you, love? You don't like it. You want to find an explanation around it. You don't want to accept that we can just see these clocks, that they're not being obscured by Earth curve at 18 miles. You want to ask me questions about why we cannot see the bottom of something you've never, ever seen before.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable question.
Oh, I think it's a reasonable question when we just see it, and it's not blocked by a damn thing, Brenda. So it's not a reasonable question to ask why we can't see the bottom of something when in your fantasy it's not even there.
I don't know what you're talking about. I think that
I'll say it again for about the fifth time. In your fantasy world, those clocks and that lighthouse are blocked by Earth curve. You cannot see them. It is a geometric impossibility on the sphere you think you live on to see those buildings. They are not there. Impossible to see because Earth curve is blocking the view. We do see them. We can take pictures of them. So you need to explain why we can see them. I don't, because it's proof positive that the Earth is obviously and observably flat. Because nothing's obscuring our view. We can just see them a very long way away. You can't. There's an Earth curve blocking the way, Brenda. So I don't need you asking me questions about how much we can see of your hologram. You need to accept that it's a bloody hologram.
Yep. You shouldn't.
No, the only one who's saying
Brenda, you shouldn't be
hologram.
seeing it at all.
If the Earth was flat, I should be able to see the base of that lighthouse.
No, that's a false assumption.
No, yes, it is.
No, it's not. That's a false assumption based on
perfectly
your
reasonable.
ignorance
If the Earth
about
is flat,
optics. It's
that's not how optics
assumption
work.
based on your ignorance about optics.
Any
Oh, sure,
demonstrations?
parallel
We don't know anything
lines
about
curve.
optics, are
Brenda's
we?
just said that's not how optics
When
work.
you
So
see things, optics are involved. Yeah.
have you done anything
Yes, of
to
course.
validate that,
And
Brenda?
optically, if the Earth is flat, you should be able to see the entire.
No, no, you
clock
should not.
tower.
That's not how
Yes,
vision works.
you should.
That's
Sorry,
the
let
whole
me get
point.
it straight.
That
Hold
is
on,
how
Owen.
vision
Let me just
works.
see. Let's
On a
just say it
flat
straight.
plane,
Brenda's
that's
just
how it
said.
works.
Brenda's just said that if the Earth was flat, we should see forever. Is that correct, Brenda?
Ridiculous.
Yes.
Really?
No.
Do you know? Hold on, Owen. What's angular size?
What?
What's angular size?
It's the apparent size of any object in the distance, and it depends on the resolution of the camera you're using.
So, for instance, if I was using a P1000, do you think it could potentially see a fly at 50 miles? Do you think that's possible?
Probably not. I don't know.
So we can't see forever then?
Yes, you can.
Well, you've just said
It
that
doesn't
we couldn't
follow
see...
from that doesn't follow from what you just said.
Well, okay, so you think we can see a fly at 50 miles then? We can see forever? Or does the angular size limitation dictate how far you could see? How small things get as they get further away?
Angular size has nothing to do with how far you can see it. It depends on how large the object is.
Yeah, like a fly. So I can see a fly in front of me.
Right.
And eventually,
you can see a fly in front of
I'm
me,
still
and-
talking, Brenda. Eventually, if I back away from that fly, eventually it gets too small to see, doesn't it?
Right.
So if I back away from a building, eventually it'll get too small to see, won't it?
Correct.
So if I back away from an entire continent, eventually it'll get too small to see, won't it?
Sure.
So you can't see forever then, Brenda, you stupid clown.
That doesn't follow.
It absolutely follows. Yeah? Things get smaller into the distance. You can't see things forever. There is a diffraction limit. You just believe the fundy maths that tells you that perspective isn't real. Because they exclude it from your maths. Now you've got such a fundy belief that even after you've explained the angular resolution limit at distance, you still assert that we can see forever. You're an absolute fundy idiot.
No, but because I can use a large telescope to bring that fly back into view. I can use a
Excellent.
large
Let's try again.
telescope to bring
Excellent.
that building back into view.
Excellent. That's
and
excellent,
to bring
Brenda.
that continent back
Excellent,
into view.
Brenda. That's why
and
I
I
asked
should
you.
be able to see all
Excellent.
of it.
So let's take you through it again. So, Brenda,
Good.
I look at a
You
fly
can-
through my P900 at 50 miles. Can I see it with my P900?
I have no idea how good a P900 is.
Well, you tell me. Do you think you can see it forever?
I
that
don't
fly?
know.
Well, I'm asking you if we can see. You've just asserted
the
we can.
resolution of the camera
Why are
you're
you
using has
talking
nothing to do
still?
with being able to
Shut
see it
up!
forever.
I'm talking. You've asserted we can see forever, and you've already explained to us that things get smaller into the distance and eventually you can't see them.
Yes.
Do you think
Yes.
the angular resolution becomes infinite with a camera?
This has nothing to do with being able to see long distances. The angular resolution has nothing to do with it.
It has everything to do with it, you absolute buffoon. Yeah? Because the angular size of a fly is such that as you back away from it, eventually it will disappear and not be able to be seen. Now, it doesn't matter if you scale that up to a building. If you get farther enough away from the building, it won't be able to be seen. And like we went through earlier, if you do that with a continent, eventually it can't be seen, Brenda. So ipso facto, you can't see forever, in spite of the fact that your mathematics for a globe would suggest that you should be able to see forever because they've replaced perspective with Earth curve. And now you've got this stupid, idiotic belief that if we're on a flat plane, i.e. no curve, suddenly that means perspective isn't real because it was ignored originally in your globe maths. Well, perspective is real. You can't see forever. You're an absolute idiot.
Angular size
I have
isn't
a question.
perspective. And all I need to do is get a
angular
large...
size is not perspective. The angular size resolution limit of your camera is absolutely and unequivocally not infinite. You have a diffraction limit. Now I'm going to ask you, Brenda, let's see how smart you really are. What is a diffraction limit? Let's see if you can tell me precisely what that is. Or are you just going to rumpus the hangout the entire time? This is your last opportunity to shut up while I talk. If I see your mic dancing when I'm talking again, Brenda, you're going to get kicked out. What's the diffraction limit?
I don't know.
So you've just declared that perspective has nothing to do with angular resolution, and you don't know what a diffraction limit is. Is that correct? Why is it that I'm still seeing your mic dancing up and down while I'm talking?
What's that?
It's not
Answer me,
important.
Brenda. Why is it that when I was in the middle of that sentence, I saw your mic dancing up and down?
Over there.
I thought you were done.
Is Brenda rumpusing the crap out of me so no one on the panel can hear what's being said?
Oh, I'm sorry,
He
it's
was trying
me.
to say how what you're saying is
You know,
not important.
If you just want to filibuster, and not have a conversation, that's one thing.
Well,
You know,
how are you
you
gonna
don't
have a
get to talk from
conversation
a
with
But
someone
then
position
when
of
somebody
ignorance and then
asks
saying
you?
it doesn't matter. How
Well,
would
Yeah.
you
Brenda,
know
yeah,
if you
exactly,
don't
Brenda.
understand
So
it?
you-
How would you know it doesn't matter? Because it kind of
It
does.
doesn't
it doesn't
matter.
matter
You don't
because
know
I
what it is.
understand.
Come on, Brenda, you're being
doesn't
ridiculous.
matter.
Somebody's
It
asking you a
doesn't.
question in the middle of a conversation, and you're saying you don't understand. It doesn't matter. Come on,
Yeah,
that's
it
ridiculous.
doesn't matter.
If you don't
The question
understand, then
is-
how would you know it doesn't matter?
The question is, what are the limits to sight? And my point is, I can see stars which are millions of light years away. So there's no limit to how far I can see. There's a limit to angular resolution, but that's independent.
Do you have any?
That's begging the question. So she's just asserted that the stars are millions of miles away. That's begging the question. Oh, if the stars are a million miles away, then I can see forever. So you're affirming the consequent and begging the question. So how the hell do you know that stars are millions of light years away?
We can measure how far away they are.
Show me the measurement.
What?
So the measurements are done by using redshift spectroscopy. That's how we know. There's a standard candle for how far away stars are, and we can measure that using the standard candle to measure the light coming from a star, and then we can know how far away it is. Stars are millions of light years away. That has nothing to do with angular resolution.
How have you
Angular resolution
confirmed that
is
is the
independent.
case? How did you
Angular
physically
resolution is-
confirm that it actually works like
We
that?
confirmed
That's
it
a
with
nice
we
theory, but you'd have to first physically prove that that is actually the case before
Yeah.
you can even start to assume that it works
Yeah,
like
we've
that
done
on
that.
the stars, presuming that they
People-
are at a specific distance that far away.
Yeah, people have done that.
Oh, really? So what on this
Yes.
Earth has been measured millions of miles away?
Well, nothing on this Earth is
Well,
millions
there
of
you
miles
go.
away.
Exactly. So you got to use the
That
stars to
doesn't
prove the
follow.
stars.
We can measure the distance to the stars using redshifting,
Presupposition.
right? And standard candle measurements.
What does that mean? What is
Except
standard
it's
candle?
all based
Yeah,
on
you don't know what that
presuppositions,
means,
and
so
you
that I
have
don't
no
care.
physical
Just look it up.
confirmation on this
Explain it.
Earth that it actually does that.
So can you show us the maths then, please, Brenda?
The math? Well, the point is that we can know how far away an object is because of how much it's redshifted. That's how far away it is.
So I've got three different things:
And also
measurements, candles, and redshift. So can you show us one of these
Yeah,
measurements? Show us the measurement, please.
Standard candle measurements,
Yeah,
right?
show us.
So redshifting.
Don't say
those
it,
sound
right,
like
Brenda.
measurements to me.
Listen up, Brenda.
Redshifting.
Don't say it 3 more times. Show me the maths that you have used, please.
No.
No, I'll kick your ass out
No.
if you don't present it. Don't just assert your fundy belief. Let's have a look at the maths so we can take
Just
a
like-
giant dump on it.
You look it up.
I'm not making this claim now, am I, Brenda? This is your claim. So let's have a look at the maths and have a look at the R value and have a damn good laugh at you. Let's have a look
no
at it.
R value involved.
Well, let's have a look.
There's no R value.
Well, let's have a look.
There's no R value.
Let's see then. Don't just declare it. Show us. Let's have a little look at the maths. When I asked if you'd show us, you said no. Now the audience is going to be wondering why you wouldn't want to show it, having declared so boldly that it's true.
Just Google how do we know?
I'm not making this claim, so let's see it, Brenda. Let's have a little look at the maths. You show us, and we'll have a good laugh at it. Don't tell me to do it. This is your claim. Chop, chop, Brenda. Back your claim.
Nah, she said we should just Google it.
Oh, so she's not going to. So you're essentially now useless to us, Brenda. Shall I kick you out as you're not going to play ball? You're just here to assert your fundy beliefs, are you? I say maths proves it. I'm not going to show you the maths, though. No. I'm just going to tell you that maths proves it. Yeah, we're not really that interested in your fundy belief here, Brenda.
No.
We're not interested in your fundy belief.
Yeah, if you don't let me respond, you know, for nearby stars, we can use
No. Show me the measurements. Show me the mathematics. That's what I want to see. Simple as that.
I can't hear you. So for nearby stars, we can use just simple trigonometry and triangulation and parallax to determine how far away the stars are.
Yeah, you're just going to assert it 3 more times, you fundy zealot. Right, I'm going to give you one last chance, Brenda. Show us the mathematics for it. Don't just keep asserting that the mathematics proves it, describing it and not showing it to us. You've got one last chance to show us, or I kick your ass out.
It's simple conceptual idea. You don't. I don't need.
You said it was maths. I don't want to hear a concept. Your concept of what the stars are is just your fundy belief. So it's gone from we've measured it, we know, to we use lights, candles, and comparisons. To we use redshift. To now it's just a concept.
Yeah. Do you know? Do you have any evidence for the flat Earth? You have no evidence for the flat Earth.
Sorry, I'm going to kick your ass out. You don't get to come here and just assert a load of fundy beliefs, Brenda. So you've given me nothing. So bye-bye. You don't get to ask me a damn thing.
Can I just say something?
Go ahead, James.
Just going to say that there's so much evidence for a flat Earth that the entire world knew that it was.
Hello, Carlos. How you doing? You hear us? Carlos? Hello?
Speak up.
Oh. Can you hear me?
It's Carlos we're waiting for.
Oh.
No, clearly not. So I'm going to round out the live show on that note, as my kid definitely needs some attention. So I'm going to say first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and sharing this debate, hopefully. If you're watching this on Nathan Oakley, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. So stick around if you're in the Nathan Oakley feed. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!